Dear Rotary, I can't believe I'm here. This is probably the most challenging speech that I have ever had to prepare. In part because only 48 hours ago, this was me announcing a new big partnership between my organization and Facebook. We even had Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, come and visit us. Here, she is in conversation with one of my students, Assem, who is a fantastic man from Syria. But I'll get back to more of what I'm actually doing a little bit later. Creating this speech was specifically challenging because Rotary has pretty much been part of half of my life, and it has influenced so many of the decisions that I have made about my career and my life in general. The first time that I met Rotary was in 1999 when I was a Rotary youth exchange student in a very small town called Mudgee in Australia. It was my first, go Mudgee. It was the first time that I was so far away from home, and I was only 16 years old. 3 months in, I was in the very unfortunate situation that my host mother was actually arrested for fraud. But what could have been a very traumatic experience taught me a very important lesson. That in a time when I really need it, there will be people there from Rotary to support me. And I hope that so many people will have that support in times when they need it the most. To this day, I still remain in very close contact with my 2 new host families, and my parents are just about to travel to Australia again, I think for the 6th time. And here we are at Christmas, Skyping with each other, and I think this can be characterized as a global selfie. And this would not have been possible without the tremendous support of the Rotary platform. Rotary has this unique ability to make the world feel like a small, well, a big, but very close family. The level of trust amongst the 1.2 million members all around the world is absolutely exceptional, and it's very inspiring. But it's also a great responsibility as well as an opportunity. Being part of this truly international community has left a deep impression on me. And it has made me realize that there are so many more things that unite us than what keeps us apart. I specifically remember a ceremony that we had in the Red Center when I was a Rotary exchange student, and we were listening to an Aborigine elder who was sharing and talking about the creation of life. Having the ability to discuss this experience afterwards with other young people from different cultures and from different religions made a very, very enriching experience for me. And developing community leaders is really at the core of what Rotary is all about. And I also experienced this when I was 18 years old and selected for the Rotary Youth Leadership Award. I clearly remember having a discussion with a Norwegian general already then about whether or not to keep conscription in Norway. I think I was a little bit too inexperienced and opinionated, but what I really remember the most is how Rotary was able to open the door and create this intergenerational and interdisciplinary conversation. We live in a world where business is increasingly talking about the creation of platforms and the power of networks and the value of ecosystems. This should not be any news to you. Rotary has indeed been living this mindset since the very creation of your organization. And my wish is that you will be able to leverage this incredible strength of being a truly connected, global, and value-based community. Because Rotary is a value-led organization. Service above self is an incredible ideal, and the organization has been able to translate this into 6 very clear areas of focus with clear priorities, and you're able to make that into real action that indeed makes a difference and has done for a very long time. But that does not mean that your old ways will continue to have an impact. The world is changing, and so will Rotary have to do as well. It can be very comfortable to sit in your Rotary meetings and drink coffee together with your buddies. But the world is facing some very serious and critical and complex situations. We are faced with our environmental and social challenges, and we need to find new solutions to old problems together. That requires all of us to be courageous, to be creative and curious, but most of all, it requires us to be caring. You can see it's 4 C's, so it should be quite easy to remember. This leads me to my third Rotary experience, the Rotary Peace Fellowship. Thanks to the support of the district in Copenhagen, I was able to travel to Japan for 2 years to study a master's degree in peace studies at ICU. Each year, 50 talented young leaders are selected for this master's degree program, and 50 others are selected for the certificate program. And over the years, you have supported more than 1,000 young global leaders to pursue a peace-building career, and thereby making the world a better place for all of us. The majority ends up working for NGOs and for government organizations. But as you can see on this chart, we actually spread out. More than 50% are working in other sectors. And this is quite significant because peace building is important in all domains of our life. The Rotary theme for 2017 and 18 is making a difference. And it is certainly worthwhile asking the question, is the Rotary Peace Fellowship actually making a difference? So numbers can be great to show, but they can also be a little bit hard to relate to. So I therefore asked some of my Rotary Peace Fellow alumni friends to share their stories with me so I could share them with you. And I would like to just show an example of what are people doing after the Peace Fellowship. First, we have Jorge, who is strengthening civil society organizations through his work in the state government in Puebla in Mexico. But he has also become a Rotarian and is an active serving member on the district team board with District Governor Omar Falcon. Sarah is working in Geneva as a program officer for the UN Office for Disaster and Risk Reduction. Here, she is working with the UN field officers and their multiple stakeholders. We have Glenn, who is the executive director of the Jane Goodall Institute in the Congo, where gorillas and chimpanzees are critically endangered by a wide range of threats that include large-scale habitat destruction, poaching, and live animal trade. But we also have Jenny in Australia, who is a professional training people to be mediators. But also, she spends a lot of time simply caring for her 2 young daughters, as she firmly believes, and I quote, "Children who are shown love and empathy and given good attention are more likely to grow up into being people who are able to show empathy and love to others, and thereby contribute to co-creating a peaceful world." I think we can all agree with this statement, and I'm sure that in the face of global challenges, we should not forget, and I'm sure you're not forgetting, the people who are the closest to you. We also have Alison, who is continuing her PhD in Japan and examines the positive potential of photography being used to strengthen the self-narrative in trauma healing processes. Ellie is currently in the field doing her field work with participatory approaches in which she teaches photography to tsunami and radiation refugees in Fukushima, Japan. Building peace takes many shapes and forms, and it is important that we do not forget that the artists also have a role to play to create untraditional solutions. Sad is a country director for Kjaer International in Laos. Here he is focusing on creating lasting change to remote ethnic women and marginalized urban women through empowerment programs. And that is actually really exciting because Mark is doing something very similar, which makes knowledge sharing between Rotary Peace Fellows an extra value add even after the program is over. Mark is a World Teach volunteer at the Asian University for Women in Bangladesh. Here he helps talented young women from the garment factory to pursue a bachelor's degree to build a better future for themselves and for their communities. Nicole is transforming failing urban schools in America as the program director of Community Development Institute in Connecticut. And education is vital, and we see many Rotary Peace Fellows working in this field. We also have Christoph, who facilitates cross-cultural exchanges globally as part of the Peace World Voyages. And we have Yuri, who is amongst many other projects, is leading a project on nonviolent communication in the occupied Palestinian territories, a program which was started in 2011 and last year gathered 150 Palestinians and Israelis and internationals to talk. We have Melanie, who's serving in South Sudan, monitoring the ceasefire agreement. An incredible, challenging job. And when we discussed in the Facebook forum that we created to prepare for this talk, Melanie clearly expressed that she was missing the experience, the insight, and the positivity from the rest of the Peace Fellowship group. At which point, Yuri immediately jumped in and offered to help by flying to South Sudan to support her. A clear sign of just how powerful and resourceful the Peace Fellowship alumni can be when we are connected through mobile technology and social networks. And that leads me to what I'm doing right now. As a granddaughter of a German refugee fleeing the Nazi regime in 1933, I grew up with a legacy that I needed to help other people, because freedom is not a luxury to be taken for granted. Therefore, when the refugee crisis started developing in Europe in 2015, it was like a call to action for me. And together with my friends, I started going out to refugee camps in Berlin to understand the problem better. In August 2015, I met Mohammed, a young, talented programmer from Iraq who hadn't been able to continue programming for 2 years simply because he didn't have access to a laptop. And this waste of talent really upset me, especially knowing that currently there's 43,000 available jobs just in the IT sector in Germany. We need talent. So I thought, what if we are to create a win-win-win situation here? Creating a tech school teaching newcomers how to code to help accelerate their path into the German job market. That would help both the refugees, the industry, as well as society, creating an opportunity out of something that was previously perceived as a challenge. In February 2016, we started with our first classes with 42 students. And already then, we had Mark Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla Chan come and visit the school to talk to our students and exchange ideas about how technology and humanity can be combined. Almost a year later, we are now a striving community of 130 students, more than 100 volunteers, working in 16 locations around Berlin. We run 17 classes, all in IT, and we're especially excited that we're starting to run programs for children, for youth, and this year we will add special programs catered for women to learn IT as well. With a growing alumni community, we're also starting to see that we are having impact beyond the classroom. We can see that our students are moving on into work, they're building businesses in Germany, but most importantly, they're creating new friendships based on a shared passion for learning and building things together. I feel really hopeful when I look at our incredible students. As Sam, who you see in the picture here, is pioneering how 3D printing can be helping in order to create affordable prosthetics for people in the refugee camps. He's also helping to teach our youth course, and in that way, paying it forward. And we have Fadi, who is both my colleague, but he has also created a catering business together with his mother to help empower Syrian women who can't read and write, but who are absolutely excellent cooks. And we have Amadullah, who has great plans to help improve the data security in the Ministry of Finance in Afghanistan, where he used to work before he fled to Germany. He wants to go back and make a difference. We have Omar, Khais, Munsa, and Ahmad in the picture here, who are working on making German bureaucracy a little bit more user-friendly. They're in the process of creating an app that is called Bureaucracy. And German bureaucracy can be a little bit difficult. But this experience, I hope, shows the incredible force of good that technology can be. It can break down borders, and it can bring people together. Our next challenge is to build a model that can truly scale across the world. And I would welcome any Rotary district who would like to join me in this mission to secure better security and education through the use of modern technology. I hope that these examples have clearly demonstrated to you that supporting the Rotary Peace Program and the Peace Centers makes a big difference. But beyond giving money, there are many other things that you can do to create a lasting effect and an impact in your district. I highly recommend partnering up with a local Peace Fellow to support their activities, or to develop a program together or across districts. If this sounds interesting to you, I highly recommend checking out the website Rotary Action Group for Peace, which has a wonderful map that is showing exactly where the Rotary Peace Fellows are and what we are up to. To make it easy, you can also just send an email to Mike Frayne, our absolutely extraordinary alumni coordinator. He will give you an answer within at least a day. Absolutely incredible man. So thank you for this great opportunity and for all the tremendous support that you have given me and the other Rotary Peace Fellows. May you go out and do good, and may there be peace in everything you do. Thank you.